Arc fault circuit interrupters, or AFCIs, are crucial safety devices designed to protect against electrical fires caused by arc faults. An arc fault is an unintended electrical discharge that can occur due to damaged wiring, loose connections, or other installation failures. These faults can generate intense heat, which can ignite surrounding materials and lead to a fire. AFCIs are designed to detect these dangerous arcing conditions and quickly disconnect the circuit, preventing a fire from starting. The National Electrical Code, or NEC, provides specific requirements for AFCI protection in various areas of a dwelling. These requirements are intended to enhance electrical safety and reduce the risk of fire. Determining whether AFCI protection is required for receptacles in a detached storage room involves understanding the NEC guidelines and how they apply to the specific installation. Firstly, it's important to define what constitutes a detached structure. A detached structure is a building that is separate from the main dwelling and does not share a common wall or roof. This could include a storage shed, a garage, or a workshop located on the same property as the main house. The NEC generally requires AFCI protection for receptacles in dwelling units. A dwelling unit is defined as a single unit providing complete and independent living facilities for one or more persons, including permanent provisions for living, sleeping, cooking, and sanitation. This definition typically applies to the main house but may or may not extend to detached structures depending on their use and features. When assessing the need for AFCI protection in a detached storage room, the primary consideration is whether the storage room is considered part of a dwelling unit. If the storage room is used solely for storage and does not contain any living, sleeping, cooking, or sanitation facilities, it is generally not considered part of the dwelling unit. In such cases, AFCI protection may not be required by the NEC. However, if the storage room is used for purposes beyond simple storage, such as a workshop or a hobby area where electrical equipment is used, AFCI protection may be advisable or even required by local codes. Local electrical codes and regulations can vary from the NEC, and it's crucial to consult with local authorities or a qualified electrician to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements. Some jurisdictions may have more stringent rules regarding AFCI protection, regardless of the structure's use. Secondly, the specific edition of the NEC in effect in the jurisdiction where the storage room is located is important. The NEC is updated every 3 years, and each edition may include changes or revisions to the AFCI requirements. Consulting the relevant edition of the NEC is essential to ensure compliance with the most current standards. The NEC specifies the areas within a dwelling unit where AFCI protection is required. These areas typically include bedrooms, living rooms, dining rooms, family rooms, dens, libraries, recreation rooms, sunrooms, closets, hallways, and similar rooms or areas. The specific requirements may vary slightly depending on the edition of the NEC. If the detached storage room is considered an extension of the dwelling unit or if it contains any of the areas listed above, AFCI protection would likely be required for the receptacles. Thirdly, the type of circuit supplying power to the receptacles in the storage room must be considered. The NEC typically requires AFCI protection for all 120 volts, 15 amps and 20 amps branch circuits supplying outlets or devices installed in dwelling units. This means that if the receptacles in the storage room are connected to a 120 volts, 15 amps or 20 amps branch circuit, AFCI protection would be necessary if the storage room is considered part of the dwelling unit. If the circuit supplying power to the storage room receptacles is a different voltage or amperage, such as a 240 volt circuit or a 30 amp circuit, AFCI protection may not be required. However, other types of protection, such as ground fault circuit interrupter or GFCI protection, may still be necessary depending on the location and use of the receptacles. To determine whether AFCI protection is required, it is helpful to consider a few specific scenarios. Firstly, if the detached storage room is used solely for storing items such as gardening tools, holiday decorations, and other household goods, and it does not contain any living, sleeping, cooking, or sanitation facilities, AFCI protection is generally not required. The storage room is not considered part of the dwelling unit, and the NEC requirements for AFCI protection in dwelling units do not apply. Secondly, if the detached storage room is used as a workshop or hobby area, where power tools, electronic equipment, or other electrical devices are used, AFCI protection may be advisable. Although the storage room may not be considered part of the dwelling unit, the use of electrical equipment increases the risk of arc faults, and AFCI protection can help prevent fires. In some jurisdictions, local codes may require AFCI protection for workshops or hobby areas, regardless of whether they are located in a dwelling unit or a detached structure. Thirdly, if the detached storage room is used as a living space, such as a guest room or a home office, it would likely be considered part of the dwelling unit, and AFCI protection would be required for the receptacles. The storage room contains areas similar to those listed in the NEC as requiring AFCI protection, such as living areas and work areas. Therefore, the receptacles would need to be protected by AFCIs to comply with the NEC requirements. In addition to the NEC requirements, it's essential to consider any specific requirements or recommendations from the AFCI manufacturer. AFCI manufacturers may provide guidelines on the proper installation and application of their devices, and following these guidelines can help ensure optimal performance and protection. The installation of AFCIs involves several important steps to ensure they function correctly and provide adequate protection. Firstly, the AFCI breaker must be properly installed in the electrical panel. The breaker should be sized correctly for the circuit and connected to the appropriate wires. It's essential to follow the manufacturer's instructions and the NEC guidelines for installing AFCI breakers. Secondly, the wiring in the circuit must be in good condition and free from any damage or defects. Damaged wiring can cause arc faults, and AFCIs may not function correctly if the wiring is not properly maintained. Inspecting the wiring and making any necessary repairs is crucial before installing AFCIs. Thirdly, the AFCI breaker must be tested after installation to ensure it is functioning correctly. AFCI breakers typically have a test button that can be used to simulate an arc fault and verify that the breaker trips. Testing the AFCI breaker regularly is essential to ensure it continues to provide protection. In summary, determining whether AFCI protection is required for receptacles in a detached storage room depends on several factors, including the use of the storage room, the addition of the NEC in effect, the type of circuit supplying power to the receptacles, and any local codes or regulations. Consulting with a qualified electrician and local authorities is crucial to ensure compliance with all applicable requirements and to ensure the electrical safety of the installation. If the storage room is used solely for storage and does not contain any living, sleeping, cooking, or sanitation facilities, AFCI protection may not be required. However, if the storage room is used for other purposes, such as a workshop or a living space, AFCI protection may be advisable or even required. Always prioritize electrical safety and consult with professionals to ensure compliance with all applicable codes and regulations. Remember that electrical codes and regulations are subject to change, and it's essential to stay informed about the latest requirement. Consulting with a qualified electrician and local authorities is the best way to ensure compliance and to ensure the safety of electrical installations. If there is an electrical fire or other emergency, immediately call the fire department or other emergency services. Do not attempt to handle electrical fires or other emergencies yourself.